Welcome back to another episode of Rashley's BBQ, where today we're going to be cooking up a surprise. Let's take a look. So what are we cooking? Beef short ribs. Got this barbecue prep tub here. These are really cool. There'll be a link in the description box. Beef short ribs typically have so much intermuscular fat that we don't need to keep this outside fat on. We're going to trim away some of this fat, but more importantly, we're going to get rid of this silver skin here. So let's get started. We don't want to take too much of the meat, but we definitely want to get rid of this hard, tough, sinewy silver skin. That's all we're doing. We're taking a very, very thin layer of the meat, but we're getting rid of that silver skin. Let me finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, we got all of the silver skin off of here. Gonna leave those little pieces of fat. That's fine, that'll cook down. All right, we're gonna go with that. That's good enough. Right in between the bones, I'll make a slit. Not too deep, but I just make this slit, that way I can get some seasoning down into the meat right there. That's good enough. Try to go right down the middle. That's good right there. That's all we're going to do. Pop our prep tub up to the second position. Today we're going to be using some new spices. Rio Smoke BBQ Company. We're going to be using their SP OMG. Because it's salt, pepper, garlic with some, oh my goodness, spices extra added to it. And the beef rub. The SPG is a little coarser grind, so we're going to put that on first, and then we're going to top it off with the beef rub. That helps contain the spices so they don't get all over the cabinet. Since we're putting two rubs on, we're not going to go too heavy with this one. Just pat it in a little bit. Now we're mainly just going to spice down into those grooves that we cut in the backside between the bones. Then we're going to take our jacquard, push the spices down further in, and we're just going to go right there in between the bones. Then we're going to go ahead and add some of the beef rub. And we're going to use the jacquard all across the front. All right. Go ahead and add some spices to the side. And I'm going to wipe the bottles down with some Clorox wipes when I get through. So don't worry about touching the meat and then touching the bottle. We're going to sterilize the bottles before we put them away. That's good. I still got some spices on the cabinet. I'm good. Not as big a mess as it usually is though. All right. That's ready to go. Let me go outside and we'll show you how we're going to set up the grill for low and slow. We're going to do them on the PKTX grill. We're going to do it low and slow. We got the basic setup done here. The vents, this is going to be our fire end. The vents under the fire end are open. The vents under the other end are closed. This is where the grease is going to drip from the ribs, so I put some aluminum foil down in the bottom just to catch the drippings, make it a little easier to clean up. Let's get some charcoal in here. We'll get the lid on it and we'll get started. Got a couple of chunks of post oak in there. That's what we're going to use for our smoke. B&B charcoal briquettes. We're going to light the briquettes on this end and let them slowly burn their way across, kind of a semi-minion method. That way the wood will burn early in the cook and get the smoke on the meat early in the cook, and then all we're going to need is heat after that. The grill on the PK has a lid right here over the fire, so we can open it and add some charcoal as we need to through the cook. All right, we're just going to let it go until we get the fire firmly started on that end. Then we'll get the meat on when the grill kind of comes up to temp. While we're letting it come up to temperature, I'll go over the vents one more time. The vent over the fire is closed. The vent over the meat is open. The vent under the meat is closed. The vent under the fire is open. So this and this are closed. That lets the airflow come up through the fire, across the meat, and then out the top. All right, it's been about 20, maybe 30 minutes. You can see we're up to 193 already. You can see that it's a thin grayish blue smoke now. That thick white smoke is gone, so we're right where we want to be as far as that's concerned. I'm going to start out at about half open or so. I've got my probe wires running through the vent. All right, the coals are well established. Let's go ahead and get these ribs on. We're putting the thicker end toward the fire to start with. I'm just going to put one probe in between a couple of bones. All right, everything's looking good. It's settled in at about 240 right now, and got that light smoke you can barely see. That's what we want, so we're going to let her go. We'll check back with you if anything changes. Stay with us. All right, we've been going for an hour and a half, something like that, and it's been running between 250 and 260. I just closed the vent down a little more. I'll show you where I have it set in just a second. There's the vent opening. You can tell it's about a quarter of an inch maybe, or rather a quarter of the way open. Let's take a look at the charcoal and see how much we burned in an hour and a half. So you can see right over there in the corner, we've only burned less than a quarter of the charcoal so far. Good, let me get the lid shut before it flares up, and we'll check back in another hour or two. We're a little over 3 hours in, 3.5, getting a nice bark on it. We're gonna go ahead and spritz it with some, it's half water and half apple cider vinegar. And we're gonna close it up and let it go. We'll have plenty of charcoal left. It's burning underneath a little bit. We'll check back with you later on. I've got a handful of charcoal in the chimney. It looks like 6 or 7 briquettes. I'm just going to add them in there. Shuffle all the charcoal around a little bit. Knock some of the loose ash off the other briquettes. I'm going to leave the door open and let them catch a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and shut it and continue on. So we're currently 5 hours into the cook. We added the charcoal. We're not completely out here. There's some left, but I don't want to let it get too low and have to play catch up again. All right, we'll be back in a while. All right, we're outside. It's just right at 8 hours on the grill. The remote thermometer is showing 200 degrees, internal temperature. Do a couple little spot checks here. Oh, like butter. 200. 204. She's done. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the ribs up. Put just some foil real loosely over them and let them rest for a while. Then we're gonna slice them up and eat supper. We'll see y'all inside. They've been rested about 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and slice them and see what they look like. Smoke ring. Man, those look good. Can't wait to sink my teeth into them. Rio SP OMG and Rio Smoke El Beef rub. Very good stuff. I've already nibbled a little bit off one side of one of those ribs, so I can tell you. Plenty moist. Oh yeah. So the question somebody had was, can you run the PKTX low and slow? And the answer is obviously, oh yeah. We ran it at around 250 most of the day. Toward late evening, I could see that it was gonna take us right on into dark and we were ready to eat, so I bumped it up to about 260, as high as 270. But just by controlling that top vent, you can control the temperature that it runs at. You saw the first load of charcoal that I put in there, and the only charcoal we added was whenever you saw me add about 6 or 7, maybe 8 briquettes at about 4 hours, and that was enough to finish the cook. So we ran 8 hours on that first load plus 8 additional briquettes. Really efficient. All right, let's take a bite. Yeah, usually I cut it off the bone, but hey, we're just gonna eat this like a rib. Notice when I took that bite, it didn't fall off the bone. Very good. Very good. All right, guys. Louis down in Quintana Roo, shout out to you, brother. Keep up that good work for God. And for the subscriber, and I apologize, I don't have your name in front of me, who asked me about cooking the ribs on the PKTX. This video was for you, brother. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. And we'll catch y'all later on down the road on Rashley's Border Q. Adios.